There we go. Now we're live. All right. What's up, guys? Welcome into the Always Race Day asPhalt podcast. Asphalt being pavement and otherwise. That's why we capitalize the P. That's the best name that I could come up with and that we could come up with for 3 years. So take it as you will, I suppose. I'm here with Noah Nelson, Josh Olmstead, and Caleb Sluha. Sluha?
Nope, you had it right the first time.
If I have it right, I get it wrong, and if I get it wrong, it's still wrong. So we're going to talk everything from the weekend in NASCAR, SVG winning at Chicago, and we'll get into the lawsuit talk that's surrounding the, I guess, pinnacle of American motorsports, and then we'll talk IndyCar at Iowa Speedway and have everyone on their way. But how you guys doing?
Wait, what lawsuits were happening in F1?
I'll get really the pinnacle of American motorsport
immediately. We're doing this immediately. He's back for one episode and he doesn't know how to act.
Nice.
It was so smooth flowing last time.
We were doing really hot. I still haven't seen the F1 movie. I'm going to see it at some point. So
let me know because I want to go too.
It's good.
That's all I've heard. Everyone I've talked to said they liked it. So.
From the average standpoint of someone that like semi follows racing, like I could see them being like, "Oh my god, that movie was great," but then like as of someone who's like all of us being very in depth of knowing racing, it's like, "Oh, okay."
Okay. That makes some sense. A lot of those people don't follow racing too well. But no, let's talk Chicago and that Shane Van Gisbergen guy that Caleb miraculously predicted wouldn't suck in NASCAR has continued to not suck. Sweeps the weekend, Xfinity and Cup, took both poles as well. Just absolute, utter dominance from the 88.
First to do it since Kyle Busch at Indianapolis.
What year did that happen, Josh?
2016?
Good man. You read. I'm happy.
Yeah, remember that time that Connor was like, I don't know who that guy is. And
I could have done it with Colin Brown last week and I would have been right.
Colin Brown?
Is it Will Brown?
Will Brown.
I was thinking of Colin Braun,
the
2007 Truck Series driver in the number 6 truck.
Oh, gosh. No, I mean, listen, he has more Cup wins in the last 2 years than Brad Keselowski or Kyle Busch.
And Alex Bowman.
That was
I would definitely put all three of those drivers in the same conversation.
I would too.
I mean, listen, people are talking about you go back to Mexico and they're like, oh, well, the playoffs are stupid because now Shane Van Gisbergen is in the playoffs and blah, blah, blah. Listen, he's got 2 wins now. And I mean, there's going to probably be at least one guy in the playoffs that has no wins or 1 win. So
that is how the playoffs work. Those are the only 2 actual possible things coming in now.
You know what I mean?
Out over the next few weeks.
And potentially a 3rd win, maybe a 4th win.
Have 6.
Yeah. I mean, he was talking to the media today, and I mean, they asked him if he was looking to go, for another one in Sonoma, and he said no. He's kind of just a fly by the seat of the pants guy, but
he say no. He's just not looking for. That's okay.
He's not looking forward to winning
like that.
He said he's not, anticipating it or anything like that. He shows up and does the best that he can do. And you look at the first 9 races compared to the second, 9 races, and he has gained a lot more points. So he's quickly catching on to the ovals. He's quickly, obviously a good road course racer. The street course he's got nailed down, and he said so himself. He's having an absolute blast doing it. So I think, he's going to be someone to watch for the next couple of years.
He is also ahead of Daniel Suarez and Brad Keselowski in the standings now. So it's not like he's any slouch. Like he's starting to move up in the point standings to where it's more feasible that he could be somebody in the round of 12 or the round. I won't go so far as to say the round of 8, but when you're 5th in the playoff seed, currently as it sits, with more road courses on the horizon and opportunity for him to get more playoff points, he could really put up some playoff point numbers heading into the playoffs and give himself a chance. So
he also has a better average finish than Josh Berry right now.
yeah, stage points have really helped that 21 car. They've had great speed and absolutely no luck. So that makes sense.
Sorry, I'm still trying to pull up his racing reference since they completely jacked that site on me.
Oh, I hate.
I'll never forgive them for what they did with racing reference.
Times as long to get in on it. I was just looking at tracks that they've gone to twice because that's what people were talking about with Shane, how he's improved or will improve tracks he's visited more than once. That was a road course in Austin. Yeah, okay. Kansas, they've only been. I don't think they've. Yeah, okay. I'd have to look at last year. I'd have to compare, but 18th at Michigan, 14th at Charlotte. You can't count Atlanta. That was still 22nd. But yeah, I mean, two top 15, top 20 finishes at mile-and-a-half courses coming into the stretch that went Mexico, Pocono, Atlanta, and Chicago, or streets of Chicago. I almost said Chicagoland.
If only.
Soon.
It's definitely he definitely isn't as lost as he seemed early in the year. Getting buried far in the back of these fields and not being, remotely a contender in anything. It was like, oh yeah, he's from the full season. Forgot. So we'll see what the rest of the season holds. But people talk about, him not deserving being fourth in the points, how you look at playoff standings, which is just how we should look at things, because that's how it's selected. But go look at what Marcos Ambrose's career would be if they had the schedule. What that schedule, the years that Chase Elliott and Martin Truex were the best road course racers in NASCAR, and it wasn't even close, right? See what happens if you put 6 road courses on those seasons, and everything's different with different sets of rules. So it's been cool to see.
Well, we're also 11 years deep into this playoff system. Accept it, move on. This is how things are.
Well,
yeah, well, you can.
That's a hot take.
people make like, they're like, oh well, if it wasn't so road course heavy, then he wouldn't be. It's winning the championship in NASCAR has always relied somewhat on the road courses. So, I mean, I think you're looking at me funny.
I respectfully
you can't
disagree.
make that face. You can't make that face and not come guns blazing.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree. There was a very long period of time where you could be out to lunch 2 weeks out of the year at Watkins Glen and Sonoma.
That's a fair point.
Still be a championship contender.
But then
that's why guys like Boris said and
Jimmy
Ron
Johnson
Fellows would get rides.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean you still had to be somewhat decent. And you look at the Jeff Gordons, the Jimmy Johnsons,
Jimmy Johnson won one road course race in his entire career.
They were still
there were
solid.
There were two road courses.
What did you just say?
Jimmy Johnson won one road course race his entire career.
I thought
Sonoma
you said
2010,
none.
only because Marcos Ambrose's car shut off. Jeff Gordon was like the best road course racer we've ever seen up until the last few years. And so if Jeff had this schedule, Jeff might be an 8-time champion. Like,
it's about time we started saying the real stuff. I agree.
Yeah. So I would say road course racing is as prevalent and as imperative to your championship hopes as it has ever been and probably ever will be, because I don't foresee us having more road courses than we have now. That'd be incredible.
Especially in a title race that ends at Jeff Gordon Speedway.
Yes, exactly. For now.
So real quick on that too. So Jimmy Johnson's one road course win came in what year?
2010.
Who won the championship that year?
Caleb, that's like saying that an apple fell off the tree
won the
and
last
the window
5
shattered.
championships. Like that was
my whole take on this is I'm gonna be middle ground here. I mean, very very realistically, yes, road courses play a factor into the championship, but it's not going to win you the championship. Like, you may get to a certain point in the playoffs based just on road courses, but eventually that's going to run out. And I think the skill in itself that, in this example, SVG is developing he might get it based on the improving of his oval skills.
You have to be a
But-
well-rounded driver to win the title. You can't just
Yeah.
be good on ovals or
And
just be good on road course.
you could argue all you want, like, oh my God, should he be in the playoffs? Should he not? Yada yada, points, whatever.
He's too
Okay,
good. He should be.
yeah. And no matter what, like, if you're gonna have to do it on an oval, the road courses will only get you so far.
He has more career wins than Juan Pablo Montoya.
And Ambrose.
And again, you
Yeah,
know,
that's okay. Sorry,
he's
I had to
probably
think.
close to matching their career starts now at this point on road courses.
That's also true.
So yeah, it's you know, there's two sides of the coin. I can see why people want a different playoff format. I mean, it just is what it is.
11 years later.
It's could it
It's
be
about to start
improved?
middle
Sure.
school.
Could it? I don't know. I don't hate it though, and I guess that's just what we're playing with. Should I go off on my rant? Of
Yes,
the green white checkered.
always.
Okay.
Oh, this will be good because this is why I came to the table too.
Noah and Caleb have already argued about this.
You guys know me. I'm a team finish the race under green. No matter what, I want guys to race it out. I want it to come down to two guys racing at the end of the day. And if you're on the opposite side of the coin or think there shouldn't have been a green white checkered, I don't know why you're watching the sport, because I'd rather see it settled on the track and not at 70 miles per hour caution pacing across the start finish line. I think that sucks. So Cody Ware hit the barrier a full 15 seconds before the check or the white flag came out that Shane Van Gisbergen took. And that's just going off of the TV camera of his car buried in the tire barrier at Chicago. I looked it up, did some research on Twitter. His car was there for 34 and a half seconds before I believe the caution came out. SVG took the white flag like, I'd say like 10 seconds before that, if my timeline lines up correctly. NASCAR let this guy sit in a beached car under tire barriers.
While saying he needed help over
I was
the
going to
radio.
say the only words that he said on the radio were need help. And they let him sit there for 24, almost 30 seconds to not throw a yellow. Now, why they did that, that's in between them and whatever BS answer they give you on the record. It's just, you know, whether it was because of rain, whether it's because they didn't want to run a green white checkered. I would say 10 times out of 10 SVG still wins that race no matter what. I still want the green white checkered. And more importantly, like, the driver's got to be safe. Matt Weaver brought this up, is he said everyone's talking about they needed the green white checkered. Well, we had a driver that could have been hurt sitting on the track for 30 seconds without anyone getting there. You're going to watch the IndyCar race this week, and if there's a wreck, there will be IndyCar safety people there within 30 seconds of the car coming to a stop. So I don't know. I just thought that was a really grotesque look, and I'm tired of holding caution flags and doing this crap instead of going for the green white checkered finish of any entity to say, oh, well, we don't want a green white checkered finish today. I was shocked they did that.
Go ahead, Caleb.
It's important to note too, like you said, he, hit into the tire barrier. 150 mile an hour.
It's a hard hit.
He was going 93 miles an hour when he made contact with the concrete. He hit about as hard as you can hit in an X-Shed car.
Horribly. And
on a road course.
I'm gonna give NASCAR the benefit of the doubt. Like, they're not gonna hear Ware's radio saying I need help. You can say the defense of, oh, well, we didn't have a camera, so we couldn't see. Like, then that's what needs to be fixed, because F1 IndyCar, they've got eyes that can see that stuff and know that it's happening, and you should be able to see that a driver just hit a wall at 95 miles an hour and be able to put the caution out. And as far as the whole deal with waiting until the white comes out, I think as far as the NASCAR fans go, they need to kind of figure out what they want, because they get mad if the yellow comes out right before the white flag. They get mad if the yellow comes out after the white flag, which is understandable, but we need to kind of come to a consensus of, what's okay and what's not, and how we're going to do it, because people are complaining both times, and you just can't have it both ways. And I've always been in the, circle of driver safety is most important. So yeah, that caution should have came out right away. NASCAR needs to be able to see what's going out on a track. That's, really their responsibility.
Yeah, you said it best there too, with the caution right after the white flag. Like, that's should never happen. Stupid is what it is, unless it happens after the white flag is out there, right? That's the whole reason we have that rule, and we did the overtime line BS and all that stuff. Like, that's the most frustrating thing to me, is like, oh, you could have threw it 15 seconds ago and we'd have 2 laps and they could race it out. But I guess instead you just said, let's hand this guy the win, which, for better or worse, can change on the situation, but you guys get it.
What I hate the most is this is not the first time that we've discussed this as a group. It's not the first time, the public outcry has been there about cautions on the last lap or, anything like that. We had a great weekend of racing. It was a fun weekend. A lot of action on the track. And we're sitting here in our recap discussing gross incompetence on the part of an officiating team instead. And I just don't understand how we continue to take the focus away from the show because we can't make decisions in a timely manner that are for the benefit of driver safety and also the fan experience. Like,
dude, they watched ball sports this year and they said, "Oh, we got to step up our officiating malpractice, man."
They're not mutually exclusive. Officiating malpractice is the perfect way to put that, because it's what it is.
Yeah.
Because Cody Ware goes firewall deep into a concrete barrier, and we're like, well, maybe you'll get out. Like, if you had a spotter sitting in the turn paying attention to it, you'd have seen he hit the wall at Mock Jesus. And
how do you completely miss the idea that this dude is windshield deep into the barrier nonetheless?
They've seen cars that are windshield deep get out. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But you had to have somebody that was looking, because their job is to look at the corner and see that and go, oh my gosh, he hit that wall a ton.
The corner that probably has the most calamity out of all of that entire track.
And so, the only thing I'll say on that is, like, I know those corner workers aren't, like, they're probably hobbyists, and I wouldn't even bet that they have communication to anyone. They may have a one-way radio that just has the, director or whatever telling them when to wave a flag. So
look, I don't care what their system is. Get a better one.
That's the point. We all agree.
Yeah, the worst part is too, like, the way this track is set up, that turn specifically also meets together at turn 1. So, like, you're telling me this, like, if the same incident happened in turn 1, it would be different, because you would essentially have your corner spotters in the same spots as what turn 1 would be. Because if not, you have more eyes because you have turn 1.
I hate throwing cautions on the last lap. Throwing a caution with 2 to go, it is what it is. If you take the white, I usually prefer that we race it back, just because I typically, now road courses are a little different just because they're longer courses. Typically, I don't feel like it affects the response time of the safety team for the driver, because, like Caleb said, driver safety is the most important thing. But with 2 to go, why are you waiting, man? Throw the yellow, take the GWC. I know there was weather that came in shortly after. It would have ended up, if they throw the yellow and we do a GWC, there is a high likelihood that ends up being a huge, weird finish with the weather that was coming in and everything else. But it would have been the right call.
Excitement.
Well, and so, okay, let me ask your thoughts on this. It was severe weather that was coming in, so more likely than not, it probably would have ended up finishing under rain because of lightning or what have you. So they may not have even got it restarted. So would we have rather than seen that as a finish?
Yes,
That's
1,000%.
At least you tried.
Yeah, like you throw the yellow at the right time for the sake of Cody Ware and for the sake of your spectators, and you can't control the weather. You can control whether you hit a button for a car that's firewall deep in the concrete. You know, we all make decisions and we hope that they're the right ones. And I feel like they should have obviously, yeah, it's really easy for all of us to sit here in our armchairs after and go, well, they just need to make better decisions. But I feel like on a consistent basis, we all, as a collective social media homunculus, have the same outcry every time something like this happens.
What was that word you just used?
Homunculus.
Can't say I've heard it before. Good point. Absolutely. Are we good to move on and talk lawyer stuff?
Yeah, lawyer stuff.
All right, briefcase. Give
All right, let me bring it.
Bring me some more words I haven't heard in a while.
This is all Noah.
So today, it
Wednesday.
today is Wednesday, July 9th. Local time is 7:57.
Now you're getting a little too liberal with it. Let's go.
Okay, sorry. I thought we wanted details. All right, I was ready. So they announced today, the judge rules against our FRM and 2311. They rule in NASCAR's favor regarding the injunction for their lawsuit against NASCAR, the antitrust monopoly lawsuit. And so now, as a result, 2311 and FRM could be without charters starting as soon as Dover. They would be open cars, which has a couple of trickle-down effects. So, namely, 2311 and FRM would get probably about a third as much of the revenue as they're getting now as open cars compared to chartered cars. They also would no longer be guaranteed spots in the race should they fail to qualify or for any reason related to speed or weather or whatever have you. And so those are two of the really big fallout effects from this. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting from here is the SHR charter that had been purchased after the agreement was signed by, I believe it was FRM that purchased that one, and what the status of that is, since that's a charter that is under the current agreement compared to the charters that aren't under the current agreement. That'll be interesting to see how they rule. It feels rather arbitrary to me, if you want my opinion, but that's kind of where we're sitting right now. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here, whether NASCAR says we're just going to have 30 chartered cars and 10 open cars, or if they're going to hold the charters in escrow until, you know, the lawsuit's completely finished, or if they're going to distribute a bigger piece of the pie to teams since there's less chartered cars. It's going to be a whole thing of shenanigans going on.
I won't hold my breath on the other teams getting more of the money.
Yes, I know. It's just I'm talking any scenario at this point is likely. This is a really weird deal. I think everybody's kind of in agreement on that part, but we will just see what happens from here, and it'll be interesting to see how it affects 2311, in my opinion, in particular, just because Reddick and Wallace are in the thick of the playoff fight. Like if they lose their charters and something crazy happens and they miss a race, then they're not playoff eligible, and so then that's a whole nother can of worms. And so
they need to have a kid or something, or get in a snowboard accident.
Go break your back in a sprint car or get COVID, or
why do you have to do it to a sprint car?
Well,
our cars are safer than the next gen down at the dirt track.
Ask Alex Bowman how his back felt, man.
That's one guy. Ask Larson how his back feels. He says.
Well, I'm just saying that all the reasons to get a waiver, we were just getting them all out of the way. Not wishing that on anybody, obviously. So
the risk, I don't think there's as much of a risk at losing your spot in a race, because this year, right, they had 41 a few weeks ago, and that was the most they've had since like 2018.
Yeah, for a non-Daytona 500.
That was the only time in a non-Daytona 500 race in those 7 years where there was a possibility that someone didn't make it, right? You're right. This was last week. What am I talking
Yes,
about?
yeah. Corey Heim failed to qualify, which I'll eat all the crow for that because
You jinxed the crap out of them. You should.
Yeah, I was out here talking about how it was going to be between the 66 and 78 for the final spot in the field and how their equipment's not as good. And, I was talking about Corey Heim being this great prospect, and then he hits the wall, bends the toe link, and fails to qualify. So,
also, my phone's listening to me because I had 3 Josh Bilicki interviews pop up on my feed this week.
Yeah, no, I mean, they did exactly what they needed to do, get in the field, and they both had great runs. I know Leg had the one spin, but she
got a top 20.
Yeah, ended up coming back for a top 20. Bilicki had a good run out in the early 20s. So, good job to both of them, and hopefully they continue to be successful.
So yeah, the risk for 2311 and Front Row. And 2311, a newer team, obviously backed by Michael Jordan. They got money. Front Row has always been kind of a underdog, lesser money than others as far as things are considered. Not, your mom and dad's race shop by any means like that. But when you're looking at the amount of money that they don't get when they don't have the charter and they have to run as an open car, it sounds substantial. I don't have figures, and NASCAR stopped putting their purses out, so it's kind of hard to put that on the table. It's really interesting that this has gone this way. I thought early on it looked like they got this hotshot lawyer. They called him Saul Goodman, essentially, said he can fix anything. And we've gotten to this point, and it's like they're siding with NASCAR. None of the things that they're asking other leagues to turn over finance-wise is getting supported. And, now it looks like, you might run the rest of the year as an open car. And what's next after that? Are they going to give you a charter? Are you going to have to pay more for it? What happens with those?
Yeah, it'll be an interesting off season. For sure, because I believe that all is going to come to a head in December, if I remember correctly.
Only if the judge said only if they want to keep putting firewood on both respective fires and burning money to the ground is what he said. So
he said, "Go pound sand."
Yeah, and they aren't going to listen to him, which is kind of hilarious. I guess they've wasted so much money. What's more at this point, but. Yeah, I don't know. I want whatever is better for the sport, and I don't know what to root for.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've been with it lately.
All right, let's talk.
You guys have anything?
Good lawyer talk. That's as deep as we get on lawyer talk, because it really, every update you get from that, you read it, you go, oh, that's substantial. And then you're kind of at the same spot that you were a week ago, the last time you read an update on this case. So
I'm just glad all of you stayed awake for this.
We'll try to. We'll make it more fun next time.
I'll put a suit on.
We'll do a mock trial.
I'll be Saul Goodman.
All right, yeah, you got that one. I don't know what fictional TV show lawyer I would pick.
There's Harvey Specter.
No, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
There's one from The Rookie that he thinks he's really smart, and then he worked for the mob for a bit, and that was a whole can of worms with that. Anyways, let's talk some open wheel racing. IndyCar at Iowa, doubleheader this week. Souk Up sponsoring the race on Sunday. I forget what the Saturday race is called. I'll be up there for Always Race Day, and excited to get going. Josh, you're the IndyCar guy. What's the biggest storyline coming into this weekend?
What will be different from last year to this year? What would that be?
Penske sucks.
We'll get it. We'll knock that off first, I guess. No, okay. I'm sorry. I just keep changing my mind in my head. So NASCAR, IndyCar, these 2 races last year were probably my, what did I call them, guys? 1.5 out of 10, 0.5s out of 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was definitely not high on your list.
It's a poor product. And that's a stark difference from the best product in motorsports, or at least most consistent that I had thought of this series at this racetrack in every year it ran there going up to 2024. Last year, and most of the IndyCar guys seem to be blaming the repave that NASCAR had at Iowa Speedway, where they half-assed both corners, and it left a one-groove racetrack on the bottom. for these open wheel cars, at least if they don't get up and use the second lane right away. Now, they have reduced the power, I think raised the downforce in an effort to create a better product on the racetrack. I can say with testing and watching that, no one went up there. No one went up to the second line in the 15 minutes I was out there, and everyone that did got far off the throttle. Like, we're not making the corner. I'm not even going to test it. This test is too important for us to junk a car at. So it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't know what it's going to be. But if this is our in and out segment this week, you guys want to call your shot on if this package is going to be, let's make the line better than last year.
I feel like you can only go up. I was going to say, I feel like you can only go up.
Maybe we should make the line like a 4 out of 10 or something. I don't
know. God, what did I say that my expectation is for next year? 5 out of 10? Is that what I said on last episode?
I've slept since then. I don't know.
I thought you meant like last year at the track. Like,
no,
it's gonna be a 5 out of 10 next year.
I'm trying to base it off. I'm trying to base my line off what I decided. I think next year is going to be with the new package. I think there's a good chance this race probably falls in that 3 out of 10 expectation. I don't have much expectation going into it, which is sad because it's like you said, it was always something that we looked forward to, especially just for how big it was. It was nice to see the big product come to the state of Iowa. But I feel like overall you're taking a major step back with just the losing a bit of funding on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm out on it on the product right now. But that being said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I've seen, New Atlanta is a great example. I think I got on Old Takes Exposed for tweeting like 11 laps in the race. Like, maybe we shouldn't have made like a 1.5 mile racetrack with an abrasive surface, a drafting style, full bore pedal to the metal track with how loose these cars get. And that was the 3 wide Cars the movie 3 wide finish at the end of that race. So that was bad tweet by me, but yeah, who knows what we get out of this week, and maybe we'll be surprised.
I don't think it's ever a good sign when you're editing and tweaking the package the week before the race. So
this has been the move they were going to go to the whole summer. There's been a couple tests there.
Okay.
I don't know if they had it the first test round. I know, so that would have been 2 weeks ago. So 3 weeks before the race, they did a test, and that was the new everything. And it just didn't.
Even then, a couple weeks before the race, still it's sketchy. Well, it feels like a desperation move.
No, I thought the hybrid was a big part of what was creating the lack of product at ovals, and Gateway turned out to be an instant classic and a damn electric race to watch. So if we could get anything like that, I hope they have dedicated second line practice, and if they think that could help, I hope they run it for 3 hours if they can. Do whatever you can and get some rubber up there, but we'll see what happens this weekend. Caleb, you got anything on the package?
That's really going to be like their best chance, I think, is I don't know. I mean, I'm optimistic just because we will have had essentially a year in now of the track aging a bit more. And if they do the second groove practice, I mean, I think that's like a no-brainer. I think you got to do that. Because that is the only chance that you're going to have. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it is disappointing because I feel like that weekend was a huge staple, and with the concerts and, all that stuff, it really became kind of an event, but then kind of like what Iowa is used to, as quickly as it came, it went away. And so we'll kind of see where we go from here.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Hopefully it turns out to be a fun weekend nonetheless. I think it's usually ends up pretty cool at Iowa Speedway. It's a track that doesn't put on a lot of duds. So we at least have that going for us. Now, the storyline's coming in. Team Penske has won 5 of the last 6 races at Iowa. Joseph Newgarden won 3 of those. They have royally sucked this year. especially Joseph Newgarden's team. I think he's buried in like 18th or 19th in points. It has been a disaster. He went out on the first lap at Mid-Ohio on their last race out. Is this a weekend for Penske to utilize getting back on track?
No.
Okay.
I felt like they had good speed at Gateway and they didn't execute. And so if
that's not true. That's not true. Joseph Newgarden just about did get executed.
I would say too, like that wasn't Joseph's fault on that wreck.
Yeah.
Like it's just he's catching the bad end of the horseshoe, lucky horseshoe. That's the word I couldn't think of. But
Alex Palou found Jimmy Johnson's horseshoe, except for Mid-Ohio last week.
Well, here's my thing that I've also noticed, and not only is it they having the lack of speed / luck, they have not been able to mechanically figure it out this year. I think they are first amongst teams by like 4 where they've had a mechanical failure at some point on one of their cars. Like they are number 1 in the like category. I don't know the best way or the wording that I saw.
The team with the most weekends with at least one mechanical failure.
That is yes, that.
And it almost gives the feeling that like all of the top leadership of that team just disappeared.
Well,
and then
yes, but also it happening before that.
You think about the performance leading into Indy for that team and the performance after the fact. It is quite strange.
Depressing.
So are you guys married to the fact that Tim Cindric was Team Penske's success? That's what we're saying, because I think it way too simple of an explanation. Like if leave a binder of here's how I do my job. Maybe he didn't want to leave that, but I assume there's someone sitting right behind him that watches him do it and knows.
That's a puzzle piece of the problem. Is you lose your top leadership, you get dinged for having an illegal car, and you can't execute mechanically. You have issues on pit road, and then you do weird stuff like crash on the pace lap of the Indy 500 or flip at Gateway.
God, it's been really, really bad. I knew it was bad, and I'm going through my head in the memories, and I'm like, wow.
It's just been one of those years where you're practicing Murphy's Law every single weekend. And so if they can execute and keep the car together, I think they'll have a great weekend. They were all fast at Gateway. Do I think that they can do that? Yes, they're a championship caliber team, as all teams owned by Roger Penske are and forever will be. But it's like any other racing series on earth. You have to put it all together if you want to be consistently successful.
I think one thing you got to think of too, though, so when we talk about Cindric, obviously, I mean, it was Cindric plus 2 others as well. So that's a big chunk out of the leadership. But then not only that, it wasn't all Cindric, but you have to remember that's a guy who was leading that team for 20 some years. That's 20 years of culture and a procedure and everything that has, been a part of that team for 2 decades gone.
And he was the team director for the 2 team as well.
Yeah. And so is he all of it? No, but it's been 2 decades worth of, I mean, I don't know the word other than culture and, leadership and all that. And obviously Roger knows how to get that back, but it's not just something that you can just flip a switch on and immediately get back.
He is the edging of the puzzle that you always build first. That's my description of it.
What did you just?
What is he
doing? Whoa!
I don't even know
the edge pieces.
He's the edge piece of the brownie. That's what you're saying.
So I'm looking into this a little bit more, and so Penske is 9th, 11th, and 19th in the points. I'm assuming you could probably guess who 19th is.
Thought you were making a different joke using the numbers given to us, but no. Newgarden's 19th.
Yes. He is behind guys like Kiffin Simpson, Nolan Siegel, and Connor Daly. He is
okay.
okay. I
This is
don't.
starting to feel personal.
It's not a dig.
All good,
but
Josh. All good.
It's not a dig, but he is 3 points. This is a dig. He is 3 points ahead of Graham Rahal.
Caleb's favorite.
Oh,
Hey, I feel better about myself now.
somebody pulled Caleb's Graham Rahal pull string, so now he can go on a rant again.
The man was airborne and has a horrible year, and his team principal has been fired, and he's still ahead of Graham Rahal.
For now,
He's also ahead of
Iowa
Marcus
happens to be one of
Ericsson.
Graham's best tracks.
If that helps, he's ahead of Marcus Ericsson by a point.
But he's ahead of Graham Rahal, and Rahal is the only guy who can keep up with Kirkwood and Pillow.
All I heard about this was that Graham Rahal is only 2 points behind an Indy 500 champion. That's what I heard.
He is 2 points and 3 points behind former Indy 500 champions.
Two of them. Yeah, there you go. Look at
But like you
Two.
have a small team in Connor Daly. Granted, Connor Daly is given that car an absolute run of its life.
We are seeing Connor Daly as what I knew Connor Daly when he first came into IndyCar. And
it's a guy that's been bounced between and we've cheered for so many of those guys that have been bounced between rides, and like it doesn't work everywhere because it's hard to make it work everywhere. But I didn't see any of this coming from Daly. This is amazing.
Yeah, and it baffles me because outside of this room and on air, I've expressed my opinions about Kiffin Simpson, and he is ahead of Joseph Newgarden in the points.
Why do you make everything a dig?
I hate Kiffin Simpson.
Okay, now we're really getting. We got to do the.
Can we take the shovel from him yet, or do we just
Josh?
let him keep digging?
Josh, what did Kiffin Simpson do to you?
Air block pedal award at Gateway.
Oh, okay, that's fine. All right.
Yep.
No, I just wanted to clear what it was. That's fair.
And just the fact that he is in a Ganassi car and has done nothing to earn a Ganassi car.
Kiffin, if you hear this and you need support, I will go just as hard back at him as the biggest Kiffin Simpson fan.
I know where he lives. I can beat him up for you guys.
What the hell,
though.
Noah?
What?
No, you don't.
No.
Are you serious?
No, I'm talking about I know where Josh lives.
Oh,
No, you don't.
Okay. I
You
know
can figure it out, but
I know the general vicinity where
It
Josh
would be
lives.
wild for no one else to like dox Kiffin Simpson.
I was going to say, yeah, you're just like, I got Kiffin Simpson's address. Who else do you need?
that breaking news. Yeah.
Do you have his P.O. box? Like, that's really
I have his IP address. No.
yeah, it's everything about this year is concerning for Penske on the sake of everything that's gone wrong on top of everything that they've done to shoot themselves in the foot.
One
if
might
you-
think the panic
if you-
button has been hit.
I was gonna say, if you followed the podcast from a year or two ago, as the panic button has officially been hit, Caleb's point has been made 2 years later.
I'll be on top of your
It
hand
was
like
made
this.
then.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. This is
He
firmly
was still
panic
top 10
button
in points.
Yeah,
territory.
I don't know if you remember, but we refused to hit the panic button for so long until it became a joke of like, you asked, so like, can we hit the button now? And it's like, well, kind of a stupid question to ask now. Like, obviously we've hit it. So
Obviously, no, you guys made
no,
fun of
you
me
just
over
never
that.
had your crossover episode. And we're doing it again now.
He still
Obviously,
finished
it's
top
time
10
to
in
hit
the
the panic
championship. I literally said we're hitting the panic button on the championship, and he did not.
Mathematically still in, just so everyone's aware.
Yeah.
But in just the more I look at it too, all three Penske cars are behind both Meyer Shank cars
That's an Indy 500 winning team. Let's be careful here.
with the Indy 500 multi-Indy time.
Multi-Indy time?
No! Indy 500 champion driving the car. I don't know. It's baffling to me.
And then it gets worse when you look at the Indy 500 winning car from the previous year and see that it had the same illegal part as the cars that got DQ'd on qualifying day.
No, let's do that. We never did a podcast about that. I don't think it mattered all that much, honestly. Every engineer they talked to from different teams, so that's like a 0.0001 difference.
Well, and that's what
Performance since then tells me otherwise.
If it was illegal last year and they got it by. So why
But
would
you
you
look-
keep doing that every year until they catch you?
Oh, I don't blame them.
Two
I'm not
things.
blaming them.
One, if Newgarden doesn't have his issues, he probably wins the Indy 500 again this year. They were fast.
I agree.
And second, when it was happening, Cindric even made the
Power wasn't fast.
he even made the statement of like, oh, it's kind of an arbitrary thing. It's not that big of a deal. That's not Cindric just blowing smoke. That was him saying like, oh yeah, I mean it was against the rules, but it's an arbitrary thing. It's not something that was going to make a whole big difference. So I mean, ultimately, Tech cleared that car when it won. They went through that car. It sat in the museum for 11 and a half months before anybody cared to notice. I mean, and Newgarden was flying before having fuel issues.
I don't know, man.
Did he have was his stall on pit road? Is that what happened with him?
No, he
Fuel pump.
he ended up having like fuel pump issues.
My dad and I were very
Patented
soured after the Indy
Penske
500.
mechanical failure.
Yeah, me too.
Josh, where do you want to go next? Do you want to talk about how good Palou has been and the point situation coming in?
No.
Awesome.
It's like talking about 2010 Jimmy Johnson.
Josh, how much do you wish that Pato Award was driving the number 10 car and had the same life as the guy that is in the number 10 car?
I think about it every night.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
That's-
But I
that's
think about it
that
often.
baby.
I think about it
Loser's
often.
mentality here.
I get up and like one of the first things I see in my room is the Paddle Award diecast I have, and I go, if one of these days.
He did win Iowa Speedway in 2022. It took Joseph Newgarden having a freak accident to not have.
That was
A mechanical failure.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad.
I'll never forget the brain chemistry I felt looking and turn forward and watching his car spin and hit the wall, and then the look on my face as I turned to look at Josh and Caleb while wearing my Joseph Newgarden shirt that I had just worn for the first time.
I was down there interviewing them after Joseph got out of the car, got not necessarily cleared. There's an episode where I went through this story and I had my facts right. It was 2 years ago. I apologize. But he went back to his hauler, fell down again, had to get rechecked out, and then ended up being flown to the hospital, I think.
Yes.
And we talked to a doctor who is now retired. So, and for 45 seconds of the 2-minute conversation, he was speaking as if Joseph was an anonymous human body that we had no clue who was being checked out post-race in the care center. He's the only one that went there. And for 45 seconds, this guy was committed to the bit of the driver, this individual. And someone's like, I think it was Kelly Crandall said, we know it's Joseph. You can just say his name. It's completely fine. And the guy kept doing the bit for another 20 seconds. And finally it was just, yeah. So Joseph got flown in the helicopter. And it's okay, yeah.
I wonder how that works out with HIPAA.
Well, that might be.
I don't
where
think
that was
HIPAA
factored
protects
in.
anything. I think HIPAA was a thing that was only talked about post 2020 as an excuse to not say something.
Clip that right there, Connor Ferguson. I don't think HIPAA protects anything.
I'm gonna get HIPAA and OSHA pissed off at me in the same week.
We got conservative Ferguson in here. Conspiracy
for
Ferguson.
real though, it's HIPAA. You can't ask about that. I can ask about whatever the hell I want to ask.
I mean, yeah, you can ask. The whole thing is their ability to answer.
I get it. No, it was just simply hilarious that this guy was pretending that it could be anybody else. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
it
was Joseph Newgarden that was in the person.
He started using his name the last 30 seconds of the interview. I'm you could have just done this whole thing and sounded like a human, but now we're doing this clue shit. So,
all right. So I'm going to ask the question, and Josh has to go last. But obviously, we know Penske should be solid at Iowa, hopefully. Palou, he
was second there in the second race last year, P2.
Yeah, could definitely run well there.
Crashed race 1.
Does Pato Award?
That was race 1?
No, he crashed race 1.
Oh, good. I thought I took screenshots and I made sure I knew which one was on the left and right. I was like, did I switch everything?
Does Pato Award have a breakout weekend essentially at Iowa this year?
Define breakout. Wait, sorry. Nope.
First off,
sixth and second last year.
Does he pull off at least one win and really capture the weekend and be like the dominant force?
Can I go first?
Sure.
Yeah. No.
Oh, he took my answer.
I don't see it. I think that he's been a solid top 5 car all year, and he'll continue to be a solid top 5 car. He might get a podium. He might get on the podium twice, but I don't see him winning the race. I think Palou is Palou, and I could see him really going on a tear this weekend and getting some Iowa Speedway checkered flags.
That's wild. Okay. One, I think Alex Palou's biggest weakness is ovals. I don't think that's a secret. And I think he's got a lot to work on. I still think he's one of the best drivers in the world. Probably from this season standpoint, probably better than Kyle Larson. Running insanely stupid numbers, insanely good stuff. I would be more apt to bet on Pato Award podiuming twice than I would be at least one win. He's shown he's got prowess on ovals. He's also shown that not necessarily shown this, but hasn't had the moments late in an oval race that it's a big balls pass. It's a slide job effective. I know that's not like an IndyCar term, but it's fitting that car into the gap that doesn't look like it's there at all. I haven't seen enough of that out of Pato to say, yeah, I'm comfortable with him getting a win this weekend. That said, he finished 6th in P2 last year in the 2 races. I'd be more quick for sure to give him back-to-back podiums this weekend.
All right.
Josh, why are we wrong?
Don't listen to them.
Are you holding your die? That's
Can we boot him from the stream, actually?
No, I like this. This will be a good clip.
I would second what Connor says. Personally, I think the double.
You did that whole thing, cuddle the diecast, and just second to what Connor said. I wanted you pissed as shit. Like, no, Pato's way better than what you guys are giving him credit for. What the hell?
You want my realistic answer or my diehard dream scenario?
Yes.
What? Oh, I didn't know that was a question. I just heard the word scenario at the end.
My realistic answer is just the way that the season has been. Palou's going to get one of them at least.
Oh, the way the season's gone.
Yes.
How many wins does he have this year?
All of them.
Yeah.
Shut up, Siri. We're talking.
Serious.
Oh, it's my watch. I was like, what? Anyways, yeah. I mean, the improvement's been there on no matter what. I mean, Gateway was kind of a rough wash for him, but he did have some issues. I think that just the way that the trends are showing that he'll probably at least be in the contention for one of them. That's just my realistic answer. My absolute dream scenario just wishes that Pato would just fucking go out there and kick everyone's ass. Sorry, YouTube. Yeah. I don't know. I want to be as passionate as I possibly can. I want to be real, but McLaren just hasn't had the speed. McLaren just hasn't had the speed. Naturally.
I love that ass was the word that made him apologize to YouTube in that sentence, for the record.
It was the whole sentence in general. I
think Palou and Kirkwood split.
Stop.
Oh my God, that would just be insane.
I think that's what happens, man.
Here's the
don't
problem.
think-
Here's the problem.
I think they're a
Anything
league of
that
their own.
I have a feeling that the wins this weekend will have an H on the hood. That's just how it's been this year.
There's no Hendrick cars out there.
I was about to make that joke, Connor.
You're
Damn
gonna
you.
make me put my head through my desk. I'm trying to be content.
Don't be.
It's how it is. I don't have much to say based on what I feel will happen naturally, just how the season's been, and it hurts my soul to just see this dominance because that's what we've always ticked in a certain other motorsport, but it's
Stagnation is death, brother. Be pissed. Come on.
We can all have differing opinions, but one thing we can all agree
that
on.
choir preach that Noah just.
yeah.
We can all agree on one thing. Both races this weekend, neither of them will be won by Graham Rahal.
I
Right there.
can't
There's
wait.
7 cars that could have mechanical failures. Caleb,
7?
Dude, you'll get a top
3 of them are Penske.
you're running 8. Yeah, if you're running 8 behind 3 Penske's, I mean, your shot at the podium got a lot better.
Well,
Yeah.
that's if you survive what happens to them as well.
That's if he's running 8th.
For me overall. More of the story. I can get all pissed off I want for your takes or whatever it is, but naturally I'm just going to be more pissed off about the fact that it's probably going to be Pelot on one of them.
We are not getting monetized this episode.
Are
then-
we going to have a flip this weekend like we did at Gateway?
No.
Probably someone's going to
In
go
or
in the
out?
Oh,
second.
last year at
Someone's gonna-
Iowa.
Yeah, or last
That's
year at
right, yeah,
Iowa.
we're incredibly due to not have one.
In
All
or
right.
out?
Stingray Rob found a way to flip at Iowa. I cannot even
Yeah. If I'm gonna guess what it's gonna be, it's probably Pelot's gonna get one of them, and
A flip
by
or a win.
a win.
Yes.
How many
Yes.
times have you predicted the winners of the weekend?
But he's not gonna win both. I
It's
don't
like
think it's
your
gonna be
fifth
Penske.
prediction.
I don't think it's gonna be McLaren, and that leaves one. And honestly, it's probably gonna be Colton Herta.
All right, you can clip.
Wait,
you can go back.
hold
You
on.
can go back and clip your 17.
Wait a
predictions.
minute. Out of all of the people that he could say right now, the rest of the field that's not a McLaren or a Penske car, he goes, it's going to be Colton Herta with full confidence in his voice.
Colton Herta is a dog at Iowa.
Yes, but also, he's also been dog all year. So,
Meaning a different meaning of dog.
Well-
he's saying dog caca.
thank you, Caleb.
Oh, okay.
So, Kyle Kirkwood's right there, brother.
Yeah, if out of Kirkwood or Dixon or
I
Lucas,
mean, I haven't seen enough.
I like
out of Dixon
Malukas.
at
We
Iowa.
need to bring up Malukas.
I haven't
because
seen-
he's been-
Felix
he's been-
Rosenquist.
Like I just don't think it's going to be a Chevy. I don't think anyone that drives a Chevy is going to win this race. It's going to be they're both going to be Hondas.
That feels so arbitrary.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Chevy hasn't had pace this year, naturally.
What was their pace again?
naturally.
Naturally,
You say naturally?
Yeah,
where's the boot?
Why are you an anti-Chevy guy?
I'm not. I am
Josh
100% not. I am
really.
pro. I
Isn't
sell
McLaren-
Chevys
isn't
for a
McLaren
living.
Chevy?
I sell Chevys for a living.
It's just been Honda's year. Naturally, it's all been Honda. They've had the pace. Lo and behold, Joseph Newgarden shows up at Gateway. Something happens. Something's bound to happen.
He's
Whether
bound
it's
to be there. He
whether
is
it's
a
mechanical
Series
incident,
driver.
We are all
whatever.
bound to wake up tomorrow. Like what? it's
just-
arbitrary.
Kirkwood or Dixon. I feel like they've got a better shot than Herta.
Yes.
Kirkwood maybe. And the reason I say maybe is because
The
he
guy
hasn't-
that's won on a road course in an oval this year won 3 times. Only got to win more than once, aside from the other one. Do you think he's maybe got a shot?
he's got one oval win, and at that point, I don't think he's had a podium on an oval before that win. So
I mean, he proved he could do it.
yes,
Yes.
okay, Say
That's all.
say Kirkwood does it. It's a Honda. It's gonna be a Honda. It's just what it's gonna be. It pains me to say it, and that's why I'm gonna get all pissed off because I'm tired of seeing.
He wins both races.
I would do a backflip. I'd be so ecstatic.
That's your punishment. Is Chevy won both races? You would have to do a backflip.
That's just how I express the excitement of how I would be if a Chevy would somehow.
Josh's bone is made out of pipe cleaners. Like if he does a backflip, it could be really bad for him. So yeah, I think that's a good punishment.
It hurts. It sucks to watch because it's always Honda, and it's been the majority of the two. But realistically, even when one of the other Hondas have won, where's Palou been? Right there.
I think Honda should take on another challenge in motorsports. I think there's a certain American motorsport that would benefit.
Okay, real quick. Joshua mentioned the whole Kirkwood podiums thing on ovals. Let's take a look at Colton Herta's finishes at Iowa Speedway.
Oh, that should be good.
5th, 11th, 7th, 19th, 12th, 24th, 19th, 20th, 18th.
If that isn't the epitome to a Hall of Fame career, I don't know.
Dude, he's just a dog at Iowa Speedway, right?
He is. He's always had pace there. The pace is there.
He's as much of a dog at Iowa Speedway as Monster Mud is close to winning a NASCAR.
Here's the thing, though. All he needs to have is pace. If Iowa's anything remotely close to what it was last year,
doesn't mean he's there.
Whoa.
If Iowa was anywhere close to
to
last year, if you have pace, you just will be at the front because you can't freaking pass.
Yeah, is he going to qualify well?
Yes.
Oh no! Let's go back and let's talk about
guys
before him. I could say that if they qualify well,
Giffen Simpson might be better than Colton Herta at Iowa.
Hold on, pump the brakes. Let's talk about if he qualifies really good at Iowa
really good for qualifying.
Because guess what? He started on the pole last year for one of the Iowa races, and he finished 11th.
That's a.
Who had a penalty?
I'm sorry.
Because it's Colton Herta.
Finished 11th.
I think that's an insult to the Monster truck. I apologize to that team. They've shown way more speed than ever fumbling away a pole.
Take it as you will.
I won't.
Should we go around and do predictions, or is there anything you want to talk about more with Iowa?
Josh has the whole field, so I don't know if
I know, Josh. Let's get a couple more drivers in there.
Josh, name every IndyCar driver.
What did I say about outside of who I thought was going to win besides the two?
First,
Honda.
I mean, in chronologically reverse order, you've said Colton Herta, no one in a Chevy, so all the Hondas, I suppose. You brought up Scott Dixon. I don't know if you picked.
Yeah, and I narrowed it down, and I said
Pato's going to win one. The way this season was going, you said Pato was going to win one.
I didn't say that. I said he'd podium. I said my dream scenario would be he'd win one.
All right.
I won't be there, so he probably will.
Do we want to go around and do predictions, or what do you want to do?
I've said mine.
We covered yours.
Go for it. Go for it.
I've already given mine. I'm taking Palou and Kirkwood in a split on that.
I just want to see Caleb's reaction. I'll take Joseph Newgarden on race 1 and Graham Rahal race 2.
Oh yeah, going in the last 6 races, you're
picking 19th and 21st in the points.
You're picking the guy that's average finish is 16th in the last 3 years.
All right, you guys take the easy picks. I'll take the value.
Connor went plan C for chaos, and I could appreciate it.
I'm gonna say
not chaos. It might just be a good qualifying lap. We'll see.
I'm gonna say one belongs to Alex Palou, and one belongs to Pateau Award.
Nightmare blunt rotation.
Now we're definitely getting demonetized. Good job.
Yeah, that's whatever.
Connor, the last.
It really isn't. That'd be a funny one. I mean, I'd imagine.
I'd be in the heights of glory, and then if Pato wins the first one and then Palou's wins the second one, I'm like, we're back to square one.
I was talking about the rotation. Pato's a party guy, so he's gonna be fun no matter. I assume Palou would only get more insightful the more he went up. See, that's how you say that without The B word, which I don't know the rules on, but it's okay. Yeah, no, that's a good discussion. Caleb, Caleb's referencing racing reference? I see the screen, Caleb.
He's typing.
We can see.
Zooming in on something.
see it.
I might have to kick Josh off the. Oh, we can do that. What is this?
This is Graham Rahal's finishes at Iowa.
I see an 11th. I see a 4th, a 5th.
Hey,
a
I see a
7th.
podium
Wow.
on there.
Holy cow!
In 2015, in
Dude.
2020.
That is a epitome of speed if I've ever seen one.
I see a 28 on there.
In 2020, when there was 23 cars compared to the field.
Hey, that was
they had.
P3's P3, man.
He finished 28 out of 28 cars in 2023.
That says crash. It says it right there, big red letters.
Okay, sorry. Let me just go to the next one. 28 cars and he finishes 20th.
That's a top 20. What do you want?
Oh boy.
More speed, probably.
Yeah, about where he's at in
fans in a
points.
certain area in their career would love that finish.
Yeah,
Hey,
not guys for a team.
We moved positions. Didn't
Oh God, I don't like where I'm at.
we?
Connor,
It's
move me.
confusing. All right.
I mean, if you want the absolute best way for Connor's situation to end it on a good note, is Graham Rahal is the highest in points out of his teammates.
Yeah.
class
Okay.
the shot.
Let's talk about his teammates.
One of them's got a pole.
Josh, would you like to pick him to win the race?
Nope.
I just want to check. All right. Are you guys
Let me
good?
get weird and freaky with it. That's all.
Are you guys good?
I'm good.
Awesome. We'll be back next week. Let me know if you guys like the name. I think we're just going to keep it like that. Just it's as stupid gets, and I like that branding for.
Just like us.
I mean, we're a podcast that predicts 17 guys to win the 27 car IndyCar race at Iowa Speedway this weekend. So only 15 of those came from one man. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. This has been the Always Race Day podcast for Josh, Caleb, and Noah. I'm Connor. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you this weekend.